What do you mean Easter isn't over? Hey everybody, I'm Pastor Nicole. Welcome to our Midweek Moment. And Easter's not over. Easter is still going on. Now, I know that might seem a little strange because culturally, it seems like Easter is just a day. Like we go to church, we go home and we eat ham and deviled eggs. We do our Easter baskets and our Easter eggs hunts. And then Sunday night, it's done. It's over. And we go back to our normal everyday lives. But in the church, we celebrate Easter for 50 days. That's right, 50 days. It's longer than Lent. And here's why we do it. Because the resurrection takes time for us to process. And it takes time for us to look for signs of Jesus's resurrection in our world. And so we spend 50 days where we kind of make that our focus and we remind ourselves that, oh, Easter's not over. It's just begun. Now, as we look through the Bible, we read through the Bible, we see that Jesus, after the resurrection, Jesus stayed with us for 40 days. He made appearances to multiple people. You might remember the story of doubting Thomas. You might remember the story of him having breakfast on the beach with his disciples. He appears to lots of different people throughout those 40 days. So why then is Easter 50 days? Jesus was here 40 days and then he ascended into heaven. And why are we spending 50 days celebrating Easter? Great question. I'm so glad you asked. Here's why. Because 50 days after the resurrection is Pentecost. And Pentecost was a Jewish festival, but for Christians, it became the time that we celebrate the birth of the church, because it is on Pentecost that the Holy Spirit comes and lives with us. And so you might remember the story where the disciples are gathered together in one place and tongues of fire come down on their head and people start talking in lots of different languages, and it's a whole thing, right? That's when the Holy Spirit comes to be with God's people, to be with all people. And so the Holy Spirit is still with us today, but we celebrate that as the birthday of the church, because that is kind of the day that Peter started preaching, people started giving their lives to Jesus, and the church was born. So we celebrate Easter for 50 days, even though Jesus was only here for 40 days. Does that make sense? It's a little tricky, but that's why, because we want to celebrate Easter up until Pentecost so that we can then celebrate the birth of the church, the gift of the Holy Spirit that God has given us, so that we're not alone here on earth, but we have the Holy Spirit with us always. So, the more you know. Happy Easter. I hope you have a great rest of your 50 days. We've just started. We've got some time to let it sink in. And I want to invite you to be on the lookout for ways that Jesus is at work in the world. How is the risen Christ being seen in your world, in your midst? How do you see God at work? And we can celebrate the resurrection and be thinking about how grateful we are for the forgiveness and grace of Jesus that we were shown during Easter. So I hope you have a great rest of your week, and we'll see y'all next time. Bye.